With this problem, we're simplifying the expressions, so we want to factor everything. So we're going to factor the numerator and the denominator, and then we're going to cancel common factors. A common mistake is to start trying to cancel out the 8 and the 24 and the 6, take a 2 out of that and a 2 out of 10. But you can't do that. That's canceling terms. You cannot cancel terms. You can only cancel factors. So the first thing we have to do is factor. So in the numerator, we have x squared plus 10x plus 24. It's in order. There's not a greatest common factor we can take out. The leading term is an x squared, so that makes it easy. Our first term is going to be x times x, because that gives us x squared. Now notice there's all pluses in the problem, so there's all pluses in our answer. And if you need help knowing what the signs need to be in the resource section where it says factoring, there's a chart that says the signs, when the last term is positive and the middle term is everything's positive. When the last term is negative, the signs are going to be different. But I have that written out in that resource section. All right, so 24. We need numbers that multiply to give us a positive 24. And because that's a plus right here, they have to add to give us a 10. So if you think about it, 4 times 6 is 24, and 4 plus 6 is 10. So that is it. Now if you get stuck, go through and go 1 through 24. 2 times 12. 3 times 8. 4 times 6. 5 won't go, and we're back to 6. So you can list all the numbers. But in this case, I think you'll probably see the 4 and 6 right off. And you can do FOIL to make sure that's right. X times x is x squared. We've got an outside of 6x, an inside of 4x, that's 10x, and 4 times 6 is 24. So now we're going to do the denominator. Again, it starts out in the right order, x squared, x, then a constant term. There's not a greatest common factor we can take out. You want to do that first, if there is one, because that will allow you to cancel correctly if you take out a common factor. There's not one here, so we know we're going to do x times x. All pluses in the problem, all pluses in our answer. We want two numbers that multiply to give us 8 and also add to give us 6. Well, 1 times 8 adds to give us 9. 2 times 4 is 8, and 2 plus 4 is 6. So that's the one, 2 and 4. And you can do FOIL to check to make sure it goes back. So we factored everything. You can only cancel common factors. So that means you cancel a binomial with a binomial, a monomial with a monomial. Now these are all binomials, so that's good. So we're going to cancel any common binomials that we have. Now I start with the first binomial, x plus 4. Do I have one on the bottom? Yes. So they cancel. When they cancel, they go to ones. I don't usually put a 1 there because it gets confusing. But remember, 1 times anything is just what you're multiplying the 1 by. Then I have an x plus 6, but I don't have one on bottom. So there's nothing more I can cancel. Remember, when you're canceling binomials with binomials, monomials with monomials. So what's left is x plus 6 in the numerator and x plus 2 in the denominator. Now, these are binomials, so you can't mark out the x's and you can't divide 6 by 2. It's going to give you the wrong answer. It has to be, if it's a binomial, it has to be exactly alike or the signs are exactly opposite. And we don't run into those very often. So they have to be exactly alike. And in this case, they aren't, so that is our answer. All right, the next problem is very similar. We're multiplying. So we're multiplying x plus 4 over x plus 5 times x minus 3 over x squared plus x minus 12. So similar steps. We want to factor everything, and then we're going to cancel common factors. Well, the good news is the first fraction, x plus 4 over x plus 5, there's nothing there to factor. It's factored as low as it'll go. So we're going to put a times. And now if that had been a division, we would change to times and we would flip the second fraction, just like normal fractions. When you divide, change to multiplication, flip the second fraction. This is multiplication, so we don't have to flip anything. X minus 3, nothing we can do there. But the x squared plus x minus 12, we can factor that. So we're going to have x times x, because it's x squared. The sign, it's a negative 12. So the only way we could multiply to get a negative 12 is if the signs were different. So that has to be a plus and a minus. So factors of 12, 1 times 12, 2 times 6, 3 times 4, and I'm back to 4. So I know that's all of them. Now I want to subtract. This is a negative 12 right here. So that means my signs are different. So I'm subtracting to get this 1x. And it's a positive 1x. So that means it needs to be the 3 and the 4. And I need it to be a positive when I subtract them. So that means the 3 has to be negative. So the 4 will be positive and the 3 will be negative. And then I always like to double check to make sure, just out here on the side, do a little FOIL. X times x is x squared, negative 3x, 4 times x is plus 4x, 4 times negative 3 is negative 12. It's real easy to make mistakes even when you know what you're doing. It's just so easy. So double check yourself, and that checks. So now we need to cancel common factors. I have an x, I'm going to start at the left. X plus 4 on top. Do I have an x plus 4 on bottom? Yes. Now it doesn't have to be on the same fraction. It can be on another fraction as long as it's opposite. If it's in the numerator, it has to cancel with something in the denominator. So then I have x minus 3 and I have an x minus 3 here. So that cancels. So I'm left with, in the numerator, a 1. Remember, if we had a 1 left in the denominator, we don't have to write the denominator. But if you have a 1 left in the numerator, it has to go in the numerator, because that then will put our denominator as x plus 5. So that is our answer, which is this first one, 1 over x plus 5.